My name is Dylan McDowell, and I will be making a pitch to the current United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Kelly Craft. Um, One of the main focuses that I have had throughout this strategic planning, throughout the evaluations, and throughout the different assignments due was to focus on the United Nations General Assembly. A quick background on the United Nations General Assembly: it has brought about peace and security. It has brought about different things that are focused in with the environment. It has brought about social development, peace and security, human rights. It has really taken on making peace, consolidating peace, preventing nuclear proliferation, and just with the health across the globe. The United Nations has been put in place with the governing bodies that have allowed us to be a body that responds to different things like HIV and AIDS, to be a body that promotes reproductive and maternal health, that gives the necessities that we need to wipe out polio in different parts of the world, smallpox, halting the spread of epidemics, and pressing for universal immunization. Humanitarian affairs, it goes as far as assisting refugees. With more than 60 million refugees fleeing persecution, violence, and war have received aid from the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees since 1951. So there are many different things that you could look at, you can research, and you can be zoned in on. But the main thing that I wanted to zone in on is an issue that is very important to the current state of not only politics in the world, but also Ambassador Kraft. I'm here to make a proposal and request $100 million to be focused into the United States alone, setting up a plan to have half of the money, $50 million, into teams of dedicated people with foreign policy experience, American diplomats that have the experience needed to be cohesive in actually seeking out the different places in the world today that are still lacking clean water. I want to seek solutions to climate change with those same group of people, and for the other 50 million, I want that to be invested into the actual needs that they have. So whether they need water wells or whether they need to be having different things that emerge from ways to cope with climate change, if there are um, a way to actually provide safe drinking water in those places with not only wells, but there are more than 1 billion people have gained access to safe drinking water for the first time in their life. Um, so I want to continue this because there are more people living in poverty than there are people who are actually living with the ability to actually gain access to that. I want to ban toxic chemicals within the water that these people are maybe even some people, there are reports out there where they are walking to miles just to get clean water, miles to just wash stuff off of their clothing. And so it is important to me to really focus and zone in on the water, the Clean Water Initiative that even with different stakeholders like the Clinton Global Initiative that has provided so much drinking water. And I also like to get involved with the National Church, the National Church of Christ, that is actually set out and has done many different things, concerted many different efforts to give clean water to the different people across the world. For example, in Africa, or just for example of anywhere where there is water scarcity, and it affects more than 40% of people. And that's an alarming figure because whenever you look at 7 billion people in the world, roughly 40% of people are actually having a scarcity of water. And so I want to, as Americans, and I want to present on a stage to actually go forth with working with you in Congress, working with you in the United Nations, taking this to Congress and speaking on behalf of not only the United Nations, but speaking on behalf of Americans who are working globally with different nations to bring them to the table and just ensure that there is universal, safe, and affordable drinking water that involves reaching over a vast amount of people, some reports 800 million people, lack basic services and lack basic in provisions to the accessibility and safety of services for over 2 billion people. And so it is so important that we take this $100 million and let it be a start. We take this $100 million and we allow it to be something that we can begin to provide sanitation facilities for, to encourage hygiene across the world, and just to use the amazing and huge and this platform that we have as Americans, and this platform that you have as the ambassador to the United Nations, to be able to say, hey, this is what we are proposing. This is what in the General Assembly we want to be all about. We want to take this to the world. We want to take this to the nations, and we want to provide clean drinking water. And the initiative for $100 million is to focus on different groups joining in, and not staying with one number and not focusing only on the number and the financial aspect of it, but focusing on the dramatic impact that working together with different American diplomats and different ambassadors across the world who actually know and see and can provide humanitarian aid to not only the people there, but can provide humanitarian aid as far as history goes, and as far as information and research. And we can form teams through $50 million working with the teams, and $50 million of working with different people across the world and different initiative, different stakeholders, whether it's from people who are concerted their efforts into farming, whether it's ambassadors who are in the midst of national security issues, global security, whatever it may be. The truth is that more and more countries are experiencing water stress and increasing doubt, and these desertification is already worsening in these trends. So it is important that as Americans, and it is important as this body of the General Assembly of the United Nations, that we work together to provide a cohesive and a initiative that works to make a better world for everyone. Thank you.